President Trump's visit to Texas put a spotlight on the coordination of federal and local resources. Congress will play a key role in deciding how much help the U.S. government ultimately offers. Congressman Ted Poe is a Republican from Texas. His district covers the northern suburbs of Houston, which he has represented since 2005. He joined us by phone. Congressman Poe, thank you for being with us. I know you've been in your district all day. Just tell us a little bit about what you've seen and heard.
Thank you, Miles. It is still raining. Water is rising. A lot of places are flooded. I would estimate about half of the people in my congressional district, which stretches from downtown Houston to the suburbs, are flooded, and many of them have left their homes. Never have had this type of disaster in the Houston area. I grew up here. I even went through Hurricane Carla in '61. The amount of people and homes and property affected is hard to grasp. It is massive. The Houston area is very spread out, and the entire area in parts are affected by the constant rain and the flooding. Houston's flat. All the water in Houston has to flow southeast out of the bayous and the river to the Gulf of Mexico, and that is not happening because of the terrain. So more water's coming in, more flooding is coming from upriver, so to speak. So that's how we see the flood waters rising, and the rain, we think, will stop probably tomorrow.
What are your constituents telling you? What are their immediate needs?
Many of them are being rescued, and so they need a place to go. And they are being evacuated to first at George R. Brown Convention Center, but there's over 10,000 people there, and so they're being put in other Red Cross shelters that are still on dry land throughout the area. And of course, the next need is water and food and dry clothing. So that's what is taking place immediately now. We're still in the, I guess the FEMA would call it the rescue stage of taking care of people, making sure that they're safe. That is the goal right now.
The numbers we have indicate as many as 80% do not have flood insurance there. That's a little different story than what you just told us. What's to be done, whatever the number is? What would you suggest should be done for those who don't have flood coverage?
Well, if people don't have flood insurance, and of course then they're not insured, they suffer the loss of the property damage, and there's some resources that they can people can apply for that don't have flood insurance, but they will not be covered by the flood insurance program, which is about, I think, $250,000 per residence. So they lose that property, and they will just have to figure out a way to make up the cost.
I know in the wake of Hurricane Sandy, this became a political issue, and a lot of members of Congress were unwilling to provide additional funding for people who suffered losses in the wake of Sandy. Were you among those people, and do you have a turnabout now?
The original bill for Sandy was for $17 billion. I supported that. I think most members supported that legislation. But by the time it got to the House floor, there had been additions that had been added that had nothing to do with Hurricane Sandy, and it was then over $30 billion. So about half of it was not dealing with Sandy recovery. I thought the appropriations bill should have dealt specifically with Sandy, and so I did not vote for that additional funding to other projects that didn't involve Hurricane Sandy.
Do you think that makes it difficult for you to come back to Washington and ask for money for your district?
Not at all, because the bill that we want to present to Congress will be specific hurricane recovery monies, and not add items on that legislation that have nothing to do with the hurricane recovery from Harvey. So I don't see a problem with that at all.
Congressman Ted Poe, Republican of Texas, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Miles.